It is October 30th, 2020. I just finished reading this book. It's well written, I have to say, and I really have a feeling that I got to know both Michael Cohen and Donald Trump a little better. I think I can take you from mea culpa, mea culpa, mea culpa, mea maximum culpa. Holy fucking shit, that's a lot of culpa right there. However, the good news is that I am here to get you from mea culpa through forgiveness to hallelujah. 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 And I only allow myself the liberty to sing this because Leonard Cohen himself is an absolutely terrible singer, but you're a good writer, and that's what matters right now. I told you I wanted to share with you something about forgiveness that jumped out on me in the pages of this book, and I think you might find it useful. And if not, then maybe others will find it useful. Because whether you will ever make it from mea culpa to hallelujah really doesn't matter. The story is what matters. Let me assure you that nobody is allowed to watch my videos unless they have obtained a copy of this book so that they can read along with the discourses that I am intending to give on this material. Shall we start? Forgiveness, because that's what you need and most seek right now. And the key to your forgiveness, your ability to forgive yourself, and therefore your liberation from guilt or mea culpa, it is in a chapter called, so it was this chapter that convinced me that you have not forgiven yourself for, because here you are needing to defend yourself against lies, bumping into a justice system that all of a sudden didn't seem so just anymore, did it? This was the American justice system at work. And you were now at the receiving end of this. Because as you give, so shall you receive. Also known as karma is a bitch, but only if you are. That's quite a lot of karma there. You understand? And so, then you finally were served, pun intended, like we in the Netherlands like to call een koekje van eigen deeg, or a cookie of your own dough. It's just karma, allowing you to experience what you have done all these years to other people. As you give, so shall you receive. As long as you hold your self-righteous indignation about all the so-called injustice that you receive from the IRS and the Justice Department, who knows? As long as you hold that as a grievance, you will not be able to forgive yourself. Because you will not own that this is your own karma biting you in the butt. You yourself has been absolutely eroding the rule of law throughout your career, and then you're on the receiving end of it and you start whining and complaining about it. That's not how it works. I made a note here, see page 271, so let's see what that is. Well, I know what it is. It's nothing. You use a quote to cut to the chase and skip conveniently all those stories of people that you screwed over. You conveniently skip those stories. Just like you can only give what you have in the first place, so can you only forgive what you own first. And you haven't fully owned your impact on so many people. And I know this because you haven't recognized that what happened to you was as just can be. Because karma is only a bitch if you are. Your mission, if you choose to accept it, is to be a bridge. A bridge from the Trump cult, or as I like to call it, the Trump consciousness. Because it is a consciousness first. And likewise, energy attracts, likewise, consciousness. Because of course, that's highly related. You were completely in vibrational alignment with Donald Trump. You were in agreement with his consciousness. You wanted to be part of his universe, and therefore you aligned yourself with his cosmology. And you became a cooperative element in his vortex, and you allowed him, enabled him to manifest the reality that he is inhabiting. Like you say somewhere. Where did you say that? I have my notes. There. Without you, Michael, he would not be able to inhabit this universe of his own making. It is through enablers such as yourself, and we've seen plenty of them, that he can do this. You, Michael, and the likes of you, created Donald Trump. Thank you. Great job. The good news is that you are disloyal. You chose once again, and you chose to speak the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you, God, I assume. And by choosing once again from the lie to the truth, you demonstrate that it is possible. That it is possible to once live a lie and then transcend it and start living your truth. That's the bridge. From the lie to the truth. That's the bridge. But we can only cross that bridge when you go from mea culpa to hallelujah. And that only comes when you fully own your bullshit and realize to the core of your being that all the injustice that happened to you in relationship to this FBI raid and so on. I mean, dude, that was very in the beginning, where you raided somebody's business and you are not FBI and you did not have a warrant, and yet you marched in, took all his computers and all his bookkeeping, destroyed this man's business, boom, just like that, and then grinned and laughed and giggled about it. Right? Well, what part of karma is a bitch didn't you get when the FBI knocked on your door? Like, dude, karma is like, hello, I'm Karma, nice to meet you. And you don't see it. You go into self-righteous indignation. You hold grievances about it. When you can let that go, your salvation is guaranteed. That's when you can forgive yourself. When you let that shit go and realize that that was just a mirror presented to you by karma, who is only a bitch when you are. I invite you into this conversation. I'm going to listen to your mea culpa, of course, just to get to know you a little better. But I am inviting you into the part where we go, hallelujah. Because then you can help others to make that transition themselves. Because whether you like it or not, the Trump situation isn't over and won't be over for a long time. Because this nation, your united or so-called United States of America is in peril. And you know it. You know it. And no matter what happens on November 3rd, it's going to be dramatic, chaotic. It's going to be a mess. Michael, we don't need more pundits telling us how bad and wrong Donald Trump is. We already know. It's obvious, right? But you could be a real bridge. And throughout these pages, even though you tore into Trump and his family, you couldn't help but also acknowledge their humanity. And that is what allows you to be a bridge if you so choose. I'm going to use your story anyway to build that bridge, whether you cooperate or not. Don't worry, you're in good company. Even Moses never made it to the promised land, and yet we still tell his story every year for thousands and thousands of years. And it's still a valuable story. Just like this is a valuable story whether you ever make it to the promised land or not. Because that is ultimately your choice. If you stay within your self-righteous indignation and hold on to your grievances about how unjust you have been treated, then you don't own all those stories yet that you would rather not tell and skip with a platitude of, boring. I'm sure the people that were at the receiving end of your fire and fury didn't think it was boring. It's likely that that was more like devastating. It's likely they experienced similar anxiety that you experienced when you were going through your little kerfuffle with the law. I'm just going to do it. And when you're a prophet, they let you do it. They can just grab you by the book and start talking about you. Page 241. Let me add this. There were 3 douchebags on that call. Complicity doesn't really convey my role. Because I wasn't passively observing events. I was shaping them. And now, you get to unshape them. How's that for a thought? Oh, hi there! Oh, see! The beauty is, when you fully and truly own your shit, you now can actively use the same principles that lead to karma being a bitch and create an experience that you actually desire, consciously and deliberately. But you need to own your shit first, fully and wholly, and every part of it, especially the parts that you would rather not share. Karma is never really a bitch, because karma is just a teaching tool. It was teaching you what it felt like to be at the receiving end of a hell of a lot of injustice. This is how it felt like. This is what you did so freely to so many people. Karma wasn't a bitch. Karma was a pooch, scratching you a little bit and saying, yeah, that wasn't cool, was it? And only when you fully can acknowledge that, oh, right, you can only give what you have, and you can only forgive what you own. So you need to own the pain and the suffering that you so freely dished on others, and use that to soften your heart and realize that the guys that, you know, served you a cookie of your own dough, as we like to say in the Netherlands, did you a favor, really. And it was, given what you pulled, quite gentle this time. Because trials are but lessons presented once again. So as you already have pointed out, the likelihood that Donald Trump is going to try to cheat his way into another term, let's just say it's well within the realm of possibilities that we're stuck with Donald Trump for another 4 years. Have you considered what that would mean for you personally, Michael Cohen? If Trump cheats his way into yet another term on steroids, he's gonna go all Putin on you, my friend. Just think that through. He is going to want to waterboard you just for the remarks on his comb over alone, which was a piece of revenge porn if I ever saw some, which I haven't, of course. I wouldn't. If you want to do a series of videos with a Canadian producer that would allow you to be on Canadian soil for whenever, indefinitely, until Trump is out of office, right? It may be something you want to consider just for practical reasons of wanting to stay alive and stuff. Maybe they won't waterboard you after all. It's probably not going to be water if Trump has anything to say about it. Nah, they'll just pour you into concrete somewhere. Enough with the fear-mongering and scare tactics. I learned from the best.
Oeh, je zit me doof. Oeh.